Good people, good
Hey.
people, good people. What is going on today? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Y'all know it's Wind Down Wednesday. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what we do. You know how we do it. You know who I am. And my name is Sandy, and I'm sitting here with my girl.
Hey, it's Shanice. It's Wind Down Wednesday. It's that time of the week again. Once again, hump day.
Yes, indeed. It is Wednesday, baby. It is Wednesday. And you know how we do it. You know what we're about to do. We're about to talk about it. But in the meantime, in the between time, how was your week, sis? How was your week?
It's going. It's slow motion, but it's going. Woke up. I got another chance, right? Got another chance, so got to do my best.
That's pretty much all we can do. You know, life is good, God is good, it's all good. We got to take the good with the bad and keep that thing moving, keep it rolling, and make it happen, because you just never know what's gonna happen and what you're gonna get and how you're gonna get it. But whatever happens, you just gotta accept it as the best of your abilities and move on. My week has been pretty good. It's been
Yes.
good. No complaints, no, really nothing. Just trying to take one day and one life at a time, one moment, 1 minute at a time. So, that's pretty much about it. That's about it. Doing
That's
what
what's
I
up.
can, you
That's all
know,
you can do.
trying to maintain a sanity.
Man, listen. And it's tough because people they push your buttons and they take you there and you try to debrief, you try to express yourself, and sometimes you can be very passionate and it can be misunderstood, it can be misinterpreted. Um, but yeah, I feel you.
And mentioning that and talking about that, um, we know that this month is mental health
Mental health,
awareness month.
yes.
Um, so with that all being said, it's we all go through things, we all do things, we all have some issues, but there's issues that we can't control, and then there's those issues that we can't control. So, and I was saying earlier, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't
But you
make
can't make it drink. Not at
um
all.
my thing is that when you know somebody, I mean, you know that they're really not really don't really have mental issues, that, but you know that there's that possibility that something can push
Right.
them over the edge to make
Yep.
them become some um I don't know, have a mental illness at some point, because all it takes is something simple to push us over the
Man.
edge, especially if we're already stressed. You know, um,
Right.
so when you know somebody with that, with an issue, how do you handle it? If you know somebody that has a possibility, or you can see some things that they're doing and it doesn't make sense, how in the world, what do you do to help them? What's going on, Red? What's
Hey,
happening?
Red.
Thanks for tuning in. This month is mental
Yes.
illness month, so we're talking about mental illness, Red. We're talking about how can you help someone, make it through or get through, or not really go over the edge, if that makes sense. Unfortunately, it happens, and unfortunately,
Yes.
people
You're right,
go
Red.
through. Yeah, and it is. I mean, and my thing too is mental illness a genetic problem? Is mental illness genetic, hereditary?
I don't know. I don't think that it is because I feel like it can happen to anyone. We're all human and we a person can only take so much, and especially like you just said, like if you're stressed already, sometimes it just take one incident to break that's the straw to break the camel's back, as they say. It's we're all probably one incident away from just snapping and just not being able to pull it all together. There's just a lot happening. And even as Red said, with our children, with our kids, they're facing so much more. They're seeing so much more. They're exposed to so much more. As far as the racism, we would deal with it as adults, but you wouldn't really hear about, kids and kindergarten through 6th grade dealing with, somebody being racist to them. I mean, years ago, but now it's just like it's an everyday thing, and that's one thing out of several things. And it's just layers of things that happen that that's just one example that I just thought off the top of my head. But our kids are dealing with so much, and it's so sad because I'm seeing more children take their own lives.
And I'm seeing, that's what I was getting ready to say too. I'm seeing more children being diagnosed with mental illness compared to when we were growing up or when we came up or how we were raised. But and then I asked myself too that question, and then like Red said, unfortunately, it's in our children, but where does it come from? That's why I asked if it was a hereditary thing or if it's some type of genetics. And when children are being bullied at school so much, it can mentally, that does something to them. Mentally, that beats them up. And they can't control it, they can't handle it, or they don't know what to do with it. And it could possibly cause a mental illness in them because they're being picked on so much. But is mental illness hereditary? Is it something that's genetically in the system, in your blood, in your, because I looked at when I was growing up, there were so many that I saw that were older than me walking around, and we were, oh, they just crazy. Oh, they just crazy. Not
Right.
realizing it was mental illness,
Right.
at that time it was just crazy. There was no label on it other than they crazy or they just got some problems. Today they putting a label on it and calling it mental illness. And I say that because when they have children or they had kids, one or two of their children had the same mental issues, which is why I ask, is it genetics? Is it hereditary? Or is it something that just, at the drop of the dime, something triggers you and you go work?
Right. I think it could be I feel like it could be, and it's an assumption, but I feel like it can be a combination of both. With it either being hereditary or genetic or something, a very traumatic, stressful event happening in your life that, like you said, it triggers it, and this is like comes out of nowhere because they used to say, I guess back some ages is when you would get diagnosed with either like schizophrenia or certain ages that were. It was an age gap, like it was a certain time period that you knew, or that it was a possibility you could fall into, having that. That's one of many that I can think of right offhand. And it is Wind Down Wednesday, and if we have any health, mental health folks tuning in, if you can chime in and talk to us about maybe better numbers than we do if it's genetic, if it's just too much stress and it's just like, hey, this person couldn't take it no more. They were triggered and they just snapped. I just think it's a combination of a lot of things.
I do too. As a matter of fact, and it's like, and then I ask myself, how do you help somebody, especially if you're seeing a sign or patterns that they're making decisions that just aren't, that they shouldn't be making, that you don't think they should be making. I know somebody right now, a close friend of mine, is making decisions that I don't feel like they should be making, because they just, they're making them like, boom, it's like at the drop of the dime, they're making a decision. And it's like, I'm thinking like, well, how are you going to do this? And how are you going to do that? And where is this going to come from? And where's that going to come from? And to me, it just does not make sense. And then when I talk to them, it's like, oh, I'm going through it, or I can't take it, or, this is too much. And, it's just overwhelming. But what's overwhelming? What is it that you can't? But then they so stubborn and hard-headed that it's like I can't get my I can't get my point across. I can't tell them, I can't give them information. I can't let them know how I feel. But it's just
Right.
like, you know, it's it's like, what are you doing? You're making decisions that does not make sense. This is
Right.
not, it's not making sense to me. It just doesn't make sense. So how do you deal with somebody that's a close friend of yours that you know that their mental state at times is not quite there?
Right. And like you, when Red said it, their perspective, it makes sense to them. And I agree with you. And there used to be also a time where you could contact, you had resources to contact someone, and it really wasn't up to the person on to say, oh, I want to go or I don't want to go. Like, they were admitted anyway, whether it was into a hospital or some type of facility. And now it's just like, if the person doesn't want to, you can't make them, and no facility can either. And so if they
No.
just are not there and they don't want to get help and they don't feel like nothing's wrong, it's just like they're just out there.
It's like when you take them, it's like if we take them to the hospital and it's supposed to be a 24 to 48 or 72-hour hold on them, they can actually
Yep.
really take themselves out if they feel like
Yep.
they are mentally
Or
stable enough to get out. So it's like, you can't force someone to get the necessary help that they need. But when
right.
it comes to children, on the other hand, and we know sometimes children hold back. They don't tell everything because they're afraid of what's going to be said, or what's going to happen, or what somebody may do to them. So they're not really going to tell the truth. But when you're dealing with an adult, who I'm dealing with, an adult, and they don't listen, and they're not trying to hear what you're saying, because the decisions that they are making is just, to me, does not make sense, but to them it does. So
Right.
I can't do anything but try to be there for support, but then yet ask questions, that's not so demeaning or tearing them down or whatever, because you don't want to, trigger something.
You don't want to be. You don't want to be. Yeah. You don't want to be another added part of their problem.
Correct, because mental illness it's right now, and with COVID, it didn't help. With the gas prices, it doesn't help. With the scarcity of food, it doesn't help. So people are trying to figure out how they're going to provide for their families and themselves, and this caused a mental stress, mental drain. It's absolutely crazy. We can go back into when Will Smith smacked Chris Rock. Was he having some type of mental breakdown? Was he, overwhelmed by so much other stress that was put on him? It caused him to react in a bad way. I mean, we won't know. I mean, it's like, I was reading an article where Chris Rock was on stage with Dave Chappelle. Somebody jumped
Right.
on stage. It's like the mental illness is real. I was watching a basketball game the other night. Somebody actually ran out of the stands trying to get onto the basketball court, whether or not they was trying to get to a player or what. But I mean, for whatever reason, where is the mental state right now in this day and time? It's just
right.
It's you can see it, and it's just absolutely crazy. It's crazy.
Yes, it's out of control. It's
It
really
really
out of
is.
control.
And especially with the people on the airplanes. It's like, you're getting ready to fly. You're getting ready to be on the plane for a period of time. What, you're having a meltdown for what reason? Because you're flying, you're leaving this day, what time you're leaving. So you're having a meltdown. The mental illness is absolutely, unfortunately, is real. And the bad part about it is, like you said earlier, it's just attacking our kids now more than ever.
Right. It's the elephant in the room now, And I think a lot of times it is mental illness, and sometimes it's just choices that people are making, Um, But again, it's happening younger and younger. There was a young girl who did gymnastics with my daughter, and she took her own life, and it just was like it was just really so sad because it's like you play back in your mind your conversations with her, or talking to her, like what could anyone have said to her to make her feel comfortable enough to say, hey, I feel like not being here no more, because a lot of times people that take their own lives, they don't brag about it or tell you about it or any of that. It's just you look up and it's just a happen.
Yep.
Um and so I mean it's just a part. I think it's a part of it. Our kids are under way what so much more because of this telephone, the cell phone, so much more exposure to things that they wouldn't have because if you think about it, when we was back in school, you only knew what was going on in school at that time, and you didn't know necessarily what was going on in anybody's class. But once school was over with and you got home and you got on the phone, maybe y'all talk, you may have heard about it, but outside of that, you didn't know. And these kids can just pick up a phone and find out what's going on, and Lord knows where.
Yep. Yep.
So I think unintentionally we add to our own mental stress at times.
But adding to our mental stress rolls over to our children, which causes them mental stress. And we don't realize that,
Right.
whatever's happening in the home is causes enough mental stress with them that they have a tendency to unfortunately commit those hideous acts, making attempts to kill themselves, if not killing themselves, period. But not just at home, that it lingers from home to school and from school to home. The mental
Yeah.
stress in all of us now, especially now this day and time, is just
Yeah.
it's crazy because the suicide rate is extremely high, period, with young people, older people, with everybody. I was reading the other day as a softball player at a university. She killed herself. It didn't say what, it just said she committed suicide. So they canceled the whole softball season. They made a decision not to play for the remainder of the season because
Right.
because I don't know if it was school that put the stress on her, if it was the
Right.
playing the game, but whatever it is, it causes so much
Right.
stress within one's mind and body that they want to, unfortunately cause harm to themselves. And it's too much. I mean, it's overwhelming. But how do you help someone? What do you do? Because you can't make them drink the water when you take them
I
to
mean,
the
you can have a conversation with them. You can have a conversation with them and verbally and physically try to show them how much you're there for them. Like, hey, you seem overwhelmed to me. You seem a bit different. Like, is there something I can come alongside and help you with? These are the type of questions that we can ask now. It's up to them to say yes or no. Again, we can't make them, but
right.
for them to know that support is there, for you to say, hey, it look like you're taking on a lot. I feel like if I can help you, let me help you. I will help you. I would love to help you. You know what I mean? Those type of things to communicate that, especially if you're seeing it in someone, whether it's a classmate, a family member, a friend, whoever. If you're seeing someone and they're showing signs of distress, it seems, if we can step in there and ask a question, just ask, because it doesn't hurt for them to say, no, I'm okay.
Right.
Or they really begging and waiting and wanting someone to ask how they are
Yep.
so they can pour it all out.
Yep.
Sometimes we're like, oh no, I ain't gonna ask because I don't want to pry, but sometimes it's necessary.
It is. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and we got a mutual friend. It seems like every time we get together, we try to have conversations, adult conversations, because we're all adults, and
Right.
we're all women, and we're trying to have those conversations, and to see what's going on and how everybody is doing and what's taking place. But there's always one that have a tendency to act out. I mean, as an adult, You know, it's like we're trying to be serious about a conversation, and
Right.
they're
They're
not
not, they're
being
not
serious.
there.
Yeah, they're not being serious, and it's serious. And it's like, okay, what is going on with you? You know,
Right.
what is
That you need
happening?
this kind of attention right now.
Yes, that you're seeking so much attention that you need. And it's like, is it the mental stress that's going on at home, you know, with your mother, with your child, with your husband? What is it? You know, are you in some kind of denial that's causing you to act out like that? You know, we can never pinpoint it and we can never put our finger on it. But every time we get together, and I mean every time we get together, it's that same individual that's always acting out. And it's like, what is going on? And
Keep
we can
asking.
identify it.
Look,
We can
keep
identify
asking.
the issue.
Look, keep asking the question, because at this point, that's all you can do. You know what I mean?
Right. Red said it's challenging, disappointing, and hurtful to watch a person you love. Exactly. I mean, it's very difficult. And then when you try to talk to them, they act like they're not comprehending and understanding. But then
Mm-hmm.
they want to turn it around too and want to make it be your fault. And react in ways that doesn't make sense to us. Exactly. Knowing the person um in a normal world would not make those
Normally, would never, will not.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, would not make those particular decisions. Yep.
And
Yep.
I mean, I've too known, or it seemed that they show signs of distress or having some type of mental illness or
Right.
a mental breakdown or something. Hey, AJ, thanks for
What's
tuning
up,
in.
AJ? What's up, AJ?
We talking about mental illness, but and I would come to them and say, hey, you know, you probably should see a doctor, or I would go, you know, I could go to the doctor with you, like, and the person doesn't feel like nothing's wrong, like they just don't see themselves, they just cannot see their actions, reactions, they're just totally blind to it, and I'm just like, this is not right, this is not healthy for you, it's
Yep.
not healthy for those surrounding you that's trying to help, you know, it makes it, they make it more difficult than it has to be. All of those things. And so, man, it's tough.
It is tough. It's just like Red said, it's very hard and difficult to see somebody that you love go through that type of mental stress. And there's absolutely nothing that you can probably say or do
Or
to help
do.
them. I'm telling you, we would be there and sitting at the table eating, and you know, and having a normal, heartfelt conversation. And this individual just like come out of left field, and you know, everything that we do or say is not funny because we are
Right.
real serious right now. And it's like,
Right.
what what is wrong? What is going on? There is something we know. There is something going on with them. There's something going on with them. But when we ask, "Are you okay? What's going on?" They
Everything's fine.
you know, and ain't nothing going on. I'm good. I'm all right. No, because you're sitting here acting like, you know, we need to, you know, go take you and check you in our own self to make
Right.
sure, you know, but
They're not gonna let that happen.
nope.
They put their guard up. Like they will not, like it's real. Like they will not allow you to help because they don't see nothing wrong. They're like,
Nope.
everything I'm doing is right. Everything I'm saying is right. So no, I'm fine. Maybe you got the mental illness. I'm fine.
And that's bad. I mean, you know, that's the unfortunate piece that
It's hurtful.
I'm telling you, I got somebody going through that right now. They're making so many decisions like abruptly, and that's like they're not thinking it out. They're not thinking three things through. They're not being logical about the decisions that they're making. And I can't, I mean, the only thing that I could do is try to watch them and make sure, you know, that they're okay. But they're under some mental stress wholeheartedly, you know. And when you feel alone, when you feel by yourself, that's
Yeah.
another added ingredients to your mental illness or to your mental. When you don't feel like you got support or nobody is there, you may feel like you got support, but you really don't feel, you feel like you're still by yourself. That mental stress will probably drive somebody totally insane.
And it's a dark place to be. That's a really dark place to be. I mean, if any of our listeners, it's Wind Down Wednesday, and we're talking about mental illness. If there are any of our listeners who have either suffered from mental illness, know someone has, if you're a doctor or a nurse or someone in that field can kind of chime in and give us some information. If you have resources, phone numbers, anything like that, you could type that in the comments so that we may leave that for anyone who may be watching or watch this later. Because it's just so important to for people to have resources when they're available, if they're available, and for us to as best we can try to pay attention to those around us, and changes that may be happening. Because again, it's different than it used to be, where I can call a number and say, hey, can you just come pick them up because something's not right, and the hospital will come and get them, or you could take them there and they would, whether they didn't want to or not, they had to go. But now it's just like, it's a different time, and nobody's forcing nobody to do nothing, so you can't do anything. The hospital can see that this something's up with this person, but until they say, hey, okay, I want you to check me out, there's nothing they can do.
Nope. I mean, I look at and it even used to be a time where you could direct an individual to churches. You could direct them to churches, and the church would have some type of assistance or somebody there to help them. But I mean, even now, I don't think that there's anybody, or there are churches that's got that type of help or somebody there during the week or whatever that can help them, get through this moment. Yeah, I might be able to call pastor on the phone and say, hey, pastor, blah, 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 but how much can the pastor help me overcome, other than, we believe in prayer. We always say that, and we
sure
in prayer. But how much of it, can they say, and how much can they do to help me over that edge if I'm really so mentally stressed out? It's like Sister Mary probably can't say too much to me if I'm just stressed to no end.
If I'm too far gone, if I feel like I'm too far gone.
You just
but again, yeah, exactly. But again, that's why I'm stressing that we all have to be intentional in paying attention to, those we surround ourselves with, and just letting them know, hey, like, everything may be going good now, or it might not be. If you ever need anything, I'm here, and actually physically being there. Whether it's you need to call me at 3:00 in the morning and screaming the phone, I really mean that. Call at 3:00 in the morning, screaming the phone.
Right.
Ladies, Red said, ladies, when I say God stop my music on the ride home, and someone join you all this evening, this hits home. I'm driving home and talking to you as if you can hear. Thank you for letting me know I wasn't the only one. Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah, you're not, honey. You ain't even by yourself. Yep. The fact that we've all have somebody or had somebody that's going through it or have gone through it, and just to know what can you do to help them overcome and get through this, And I do, once again, we do believe in the word of prayer. And if nobody else can bring you out, we know God can. But
for sure,
God also put people in places.
Yes, he does.
For you. He provides places, people, and things for you to go and talk to. My thing is this. I always tell people all the time, you got to talk to somebody. You can't keep this in. It can't be an internal thing where it tears you apart on the inside, and that stress becomes so bad for you mentally
that it overtakes you.
Yes, it overtakes you, and you don't want to, you no longer want to live, or you no longer want to take care of yourself, because mental stress can lead to a whole lot of things. You don't want to eat right. You don't want to wake up in the morning. You want to sleep in bed all day.
Depression.
Yeah, cause depression. I mean, it can anxiety. So mental stress can cause a lot of things,
which can lead you into mental illness.
Yes.
Because not everyone is born with mental illness. There are things that happen that triggers that, and there was a path or a road that they went down, and there was no coming back from.
Right. But we as friends, sisters, aunties, mothers, daughters, we have to see it and identify it first, even if we're going through it. Once again, if we are going through it and you know that something is not right with you, you got to talk to somebody. Pick up the phone. If it's 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, you have got to pick up the phone and talk to somebody, because somebody on the other end of that phone is listening, and something that they're going to say to you is going to help you. If it's nothing but "I love you," just know that I love you. You're not in this by yourself. If that's that will help you over the edge. AJ says, I have a person in my circle that needs help but won't seek the help, and it's so frustrating. It is frustrating.
It is. It's like going through a revolving door.
Yep.
It becomes heavy on your mental because you're trying to help them, see that something's wrong, or at least take the first step to say, hey, let me go lay on somebody's couch,
right,
or write it down in a diary, record it and play it back, something,
and that's my thing, because if you like AJ, I'm stressed out because my friend is going through something,
yeah,
and I'm not going, we all go through something, and I'm not say it's what is it when we get middle age, whatever you want to call it. I'm not
midlife crisis.
I'm not going to say it, because we can bring ourselves out of a lot of things, but we choose not to. And I'm like you offer to go. You offer to go with them, and you're gonna have to keep doing that, AJ. You're gonna have to keep, My thing is, when an individual knows that you're not giving up on them, that means a lot.
Yes, it does. And I know it feels like you're a hamster in a spinning wheel because you're like, I keep asking them and I keep saying I'm here and they're not using me as a resource, and I'm getting frustrated. But believe me, your frustration eventually will cut through and they will actually see, like, dang, this person didn't just physically say that they was there for me. Like, they really was on my tail. They really kept asking about me. They really kept being concerned, about me. They are really there for me.
Yep. And here's what I do with my friend. Even if my day, and I don't have too many bad days, thank you, Jesus, but even if my day isn't going the way I would like for it to go, and things aren't happening the way I like for it to happen, every time I talk to them, I'm never talking to them in a feeling down, depressed, drained kind of manner. I'm always talking to them in a uplifting and upbeat.
Right.
I don't want them to feel my negative energy or my drain. I know,
AJ, it is exhausting. And I'm gonna tell you,
exhausting.
I'm gonna tell you honestly, sometimes I have backed off for a second, but then just went right back to it because it's like it'll tug at me. You know what I mean? But sometimes you just gotta step out and take a breather yourself, and then come back in and say, hey, tap back in. I'm still here. But that was wearing me out.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take maybe a day, maybe I won't talk to them for a day. But I try to talk to them at least every day to make sure, just to keep them motivated and keep them encouraged, and, to make sure that they're continuously pushing on, because when I say the decisions that they're making, it's just it just don't make no sense to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, why would you do that? That don't make sense, but I can't say that to them. I just say it to myself. Only thing I say to them is like, okay, if that's what you want to do, because, nobody can tell you what to do, but, I support you. Whatever you want to do, I support you. I'm here for you. Sometimes that's all they need to hear. They need to know that they got that support. So when you get that 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock call in the morning and you see it's them, you probably want to answer it. because you might
Please,
be that voice
please, that
that
that can
they
talk
need
them
to hear.
down. Yep,
Right.
yep, yep.
You might need that voice that they want to hear, because I'm telling you, you would not want to answer that phone call, because I've known people that missed it, didn't answer it, and
Yeah,
regretted not
yep,
answering it.
yep. And
Um,
it, and this, it is key on why we're human, but on why we definitely have to be locked into God, because it's not an easy burden to carry, and it's not to be that type of person for someone is definitely something that God has placed you in for a reason. It's definitely something that you're led to do.
right, right. Uh, Red said the bad thing is, while attempting to spread your positive energy within their tone and their spirit can drain you, not even wanting to talk to them, but we still
Yes,
have
ma'am.
to, because we love them. Yes, we
Yep.
do.
You
And it is
right. You right about
draining.
that. And that's when and you know what, Red? That's when I just start praying, because I just like, I don't know what to do.
What up,
Hey,
Kelly?
Kelly. Thanks for tuning in.
Sorry I missed your birthday, girl, but I fell
Happy
asleep.
belated
Yeah,
birthday.
belated birthday. Um, but thanks for tuning in. Why is seeking professional help so hard for African Americans? Because
It's
this
a
is the
stigma.
thing. I don't really know the answer to that question, but this is what I say. It's because we never talk about it in the homes. We never
No.
discuss it. There's not a time, you tell me, AJ, when you sat around the table at home and you ate dinner, or you sat around at a family reunion and you all were kicking and having a good time, and you all just started talking about who needed to go see somebody because you think they had mental issues. Nobody talked about mental illness in our family.
Or even not just mental issues, just seeing a counselor, period. It's a stigma in the African American culture and community that going to talk to someone is that mean you are crazy. But my thing is, if you don't talk to somebody, you're gonna go crazy.
Yep.
Sit on somebody's couch, talk to somebody, write that thing out.
Yep. And you're
Somebody
right,
walk up.
Kelly, too. Kelly is right, too. The stigma that goes along with it is the reason why. And you are welcome, Red. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for adding your thoughts. But it is a stigma. It's a stigma within the community. It's a stigma within your own household.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah,
even have to have the community. It's in your household, because you
yeah.
can make the difference in your household by discussing it, by saying, I go to therapy. I started going to therapy years ago, and it was for me, and it wasn't because I was crazy. It was because of the things I am crazy. I am crazy, but I ain't mentally crazy. But it was because I needed to do some things, and I needed to change some ways, but I needed to talk to somebody, because there was a lot that was going on in my life, and I needed to
Right.
talk to somebody else, you know, about it, because I can go talk to my friends, they my girl, don't worry about it, you gonna be all right, and blah blah blah. No, that's not the advice that I need. I know I'm gonna be all right, but I need to
Right.
know some other things and some other avenues that I may take
Right.
in order for me to be all right. So I go to therapy once a month, but I go for myself.
Yeah.
Because when my brother passed away, I needed to talk to somebody other than my siblings. So
Right.
I went to my therapist, and I talked to my
Right.
therapist about it, because it's so hard and it was so difficult. So I'm not ashamed to say that I go and talk to my therapist, and I go once a month, and she is
And I
phenomenal. And my
and
advice
I
is,
yeah.
if you feel like you need to go for whatever reason, I don't care what it is. It's mental stress. It could be sex. It could be you not having a man. It could be you not having a job. It could be your kids. It can be whatever. If you feel like you need to go talk to somebody, because it don't
Do it.
take a quick, anything can trigger you.
Yep.
Anything. AJ said, uh, yeah, well, and then
Yeah, and
sometimes,
yeah, and and I've had counseling, and I feel like you need it, and I feel like some people can feel like they're okay, and then when you feel like you're not okay again, go back. It's not. I mean, for some people, it's continual. It's 2 and 3 years continual every month or every other month or twice a month, and that's fine. But if you're at a place where you're like, okay, I'm okay, and then 6 months from now or 2 months from now, I need to go back, then go back, because different things happen in your life, different
Yep.
stages happen in your life, different things, losses, gains happen in your life, and there's no timetable on that. You don't
Nope.
go one time and everything is gonna be fixed. You know what I mean? Like that's not reality. That's not realistic.
Nope.
And it is important. It can help, and it do give you other ways of thinking, other outlets and things of that sort. And a perfect stranger on the outside looking in, giving a perspective. I mean, you do want people around you that's gonna support you, but a lot of times our friends, they ain't gonna really tell us like
Nope.
they should. Like,
They're not gonna
because
be
they're like, oh, that's my friend. I don't want to hurt my friend's feelings. But a perfect stranger that I'm explaining all these things to, and to hear outside of a outside viewpoint on how I should handle XYZ, like that's not a bad thing.
Nope. I mean, and even when I retired, I went to my therapist, because now I'm making a real serious adjustment. I'm making one mentally and physically. I'm making an adjustment from working 30
Yep.
years to now not working. So
Yeah, lifestyle change.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I had to go. I felt like I had to go for me to make another adjustment in my life, to talk to somebody that was a professional and not my friends, and not my family telling me, oh, you're going to be all right. Just give yourself some time off and then start. No, it's more to it than that. It's more to it.
Yeah, it's deeper than that. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. You gotta go. I mean, my thing is, I'm not gonna quit. I'm not gonna quit. I don't just like sis said, you don't go today and start tomorrow. It's a consistency. And I believe in consistency. And if I need
because what triggers you, the next person may be okay with.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we all are teeter-tottering on having a mental breakdown, to be perfectly honest. We all are. Whether it's your finances, whether it's your kids, they ain't listening, they on the streets, or they ain't, or you can't have kids, or
right.
Something going on in your marriage or your relationship. We are all teeter-tottering on having a mental breakdown. And so you can't, support the next person, and the support that you give out, you'll get it back, because today is them, but tomorrow might be you.
Exactly.
You just never know. I mean, everything's so unpredictable. Folks ain't staying at their job like they was when our parents was kids, 30 and 40 and 50 and 70 years and retire. You good if you could be on your job for a year.
Exactly.
And that's stressful in itself.
I mean, because it's just a lot. It's a whole lot that's going on right now with everybody. Tensions are high with race. Tensions are high with
this gender stuff.
With
abortion.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Everything. Yep.
And we are on that cutting edge of, okay, boom, something happens and it's like, bloop, and then
you take it.
And here we are. We're talking about, dang, man, what happened to her? I didn't have a clue. I didn't know. I just saw her yesterday and she was fine. Now she, they done got her locked up with straps and everything. So just don't give up on them. We may get tired. And don't give up on yourself. That's the one.
Sure.
That's one of the most important things that I know I can say right now is don't give up on yourself, no matter how hard it gets.
Yes.
No matter how difficult it may be. The road is bumpy, but it ain't gonna be bumpy all the time.
Yes.
And if we do see the bump in the road, guess what? We're gonna have enough strength that we're gonna be able to go around it.
Yeah, because you must. We always talk about self-care. You must prioritize and take care of your own mental health before you can walk with or talk to or support someone else who you may feel or you may see is going through something. Because like, I can't remember who it was that tuned in and said that, she's trying to help and she being support. And it could become a draining on you trying to support them. It could become it's easy for us to take on someone else's burden, not purposefully, and it becomes something on our mental,
Yep.
so be
Very.
cautious of your own mental health, and yeah, be supportive as you can, but also always think about where you are mentally,
Because self-care, we always say it, self-care is the best care that you can do for yourself. Because if you're taking care of yourself, then you will probably be able to help somebody else
Yeah.
mentally, spiritually, maybe even financially. You just have to make sure that you are taken care of, the mental state and your physical state. Somebody was asking me today, they was like, you walk every day? I do my best. I do my best every single day to make sure I get my 2 to 3 miles in every day. Every day. That is mental relaxation for me. People don't understand, if you exercise just a little bit, what it would do for your mental health. Trust me.
Yes, and you can talk on your walk. You can
Listen
pray
to
on your
music.
walk.
Yes.
Relaxing music, stimulating music, a
Yes.
podcast that's positive, whatever. But it's time for you on your own.
To do it. To make it happen for you, because mental illness is real, and it's like karma. It's right there. It used to be a time where they say karma waited 5, 6, 10 months before it came back. But shoot, karma coming back at you, boom, in a heartbeat. But I don't call it karma. I mean, you reap what you sow. That's
For
what
sure.
you
For
reap.
sure.
So mental illness is real. At least, don't give up on yourself. So if you don't give up on yourself, you're not going to give up on your friends, your family, and your children.
And also, if you have children and they see you taking the time out for self-care, and they see you taking the time out for protecting your mental space, it will teach them naturally how to do that as well. I mean, now, I don't know about y'all. I'm pretty sure they have mental health days now. Like, you could take a mental health day, like at work. Like, it's just too much. I need to take a mental health day. That wasn't around 10 years ago.
No.
Probably not even 7 years ago. I need a mental health break. Our children sometimes need a mental health break. Hey, not coming to school today. It's a mental health day.
Yep.
So we have to begin to teach the next generation how to do this as well, because it has gotten so out of control. And a lot of times our kids have been exposed to so much trauma so early, so quickly, that they need that. They have to have that.
Yep. And we as parents, aunties, grandmas, friends, loved ones, we should make sure that we are telling them, your baby need a stress day, your baby need a mental health day, or maybe both of y'all need a mental health day.
Okay.
How about you take a whole day or half a day off and just go get some ice cream? That could help more than it hinders them, and they'll be, because those are those moments that you can sit down and talk to your kids, and they can talk to you, or you can talk to your friend. Those are the days where I'd be like, hey sis, what you doing? Meet me at such and such. I need to talk. Whatever it's about, we need to talk about it. So, and I'm thankful and grateful I do have friends like that. So make sure, if you do, you utilize them. Utilize those friends that you have, that you can count on and depend on and trust, that you can pick up that phone and call them and say, hey, I just want to hear your voice.
Yep.
At least, don't give
just
up.
Just dropping in a check on you. I didn't want nothing. Just thinking about you. Sometimes I just say that. Just thinking about you, don't want nothing.
That's what I do. Just, hey, I thought about you. I said I wanted to check in. Even if it's not a phone call, it's a text message. I'm checking in to see how you doing. I haven't heard from you. Just want to see what's up, which is good. And I think, people should do that. We should do that more often, especially if you got those that are really close to you, those friends that you haven't talked to in a long time. Because most of my friends, or the majority of my real close friends that I grew up with, are from out of town. I do have some here, but I talk to them all the time. So those, those that are from out of town, I definitely check in with them as often as I can, So make sure y'all do that. It's like maybe sometimes you get sleepy and you get tired, and put it in your phone. Call
Yeah.
Susan today.
Put it on your calendar. At 4 o'clock, I'm gonna check on this person, or
Right.
in 20 minutes, I'm gonna text this. Hey, just checking on you.
Right. Or do your own self-check, sit down.
Okay.
Set your alarm clock or whatever.
Right. Sit down, put your feet
I
up.
need this break. This is my mental break. This is my mental break.
Yeah.
I'm doing for myself, Is that one movie that was like in the prayer in the closet, what she was doing, and she was praying in the closet, whatever movie that is. I can't think of it. Go to the closet. Give yourself some time in the closet.
Okay. This is my mental health break.
This is my mental health break. If you don't want to be in the house with all that noise, go sit in your car. Sit in silence for 10 minutes, or whatever. Sit on the deck, sit on the porch, just do yourself a favor and take 10 minutes out of your day and do mental health relaxation time. Do a stress release time. That's my recommendation to all of you all. But this is Mental Health Month, so make sure you check in with somebody. Next week I'm gonna try to have somebody on here that's a professional, because we like we like giving our experiences and the things that we've been through and gone through, because there's nothing more than someone that can tell you something because they've been through it too.
Exactly.
And how did they come out of it? I believe in that wholeheartedly. I don't want you telling me nothing if you ain't been through it. You can give me all the advice in the world, but why are you giving me advice if you ain't experienced it?
Right. We like to bring you information, and we like to bring you relatable, real information.
Real info, which is totally important. What's up, Carolyn?
Hey, Carolyn, thanks for calling in.
Which is totally important, because I can't talk to you if you haven't had some mental stress going on in your life. We all have. And we have all had somebody in our family that's that has some mental illnesses, and we knew and we saw what happened.
Right.
So I don't want to talk to nobody that hadn't experienced that, and then you trying to give me some advice.
Right.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
That's what I always say.
And the bad part about it is the unfortunate piece. I believe it's just me. We have all had some kind of mental stress going on in our lives.
Yep.
I'm not saying we wanted to jump off the top of the building, but we had some mental stress that we just did not know how to cope with it, and absolutely needed some help. Some of us got help, and some of us still refusing to get help.
Right.
We've all experienced it.
Yeah.
We all have. So if you're gonna sit back there and tell that lie that you ain't never went through that, go on and hang up.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
Hang up the phone right now. Just hang up the phone right now. Because we
Get off the live right now.
We unfortunately, Carolyn says, I was involved in the shooting after being on for 20 years. Faith got me through it. Exactly. And that's my thing. That's some stuff right there.
That's heavy. That's heavy.
Baby.
That's heavy right there.
When you in the law enforcement field and you got to shoot somebody, oh, that's deep. That's some mental stress on you that can't nobody else experience unless they did it or talk about it themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
There is nothing that I could have done for Carolyn other than to say, girl, I'm here. I'm here. If you just want to sit and we look at each other. That's all I could have done, because I don't know what she was feeling. I don't know what she was going through mentally. That had to be difficult. You can only relate to somebody that's been through the same stuff that you've gone
Yeah,
through.
yeah, for sure.
So that's deep. You know,
You
that's
know it.
real serious. But like you said, thank God you came out of it. And you know, and I know for a fact you had people supporting you and people that was on your side when you were in law enforcement, and you had people that went through that same thing that you went through that you could talk to, which is important.
Right.
It's better to let it out than to keep it in,
Yep.
because the more you keep it in, the more depressed you become, the more stressed you become, which can cause that drop of the dime, that mental illness kick in, and we all be looking at you like, girl, why you ain't comb your hair today? You know, what is going
Right.
on? You know, because we know if I mean, because that's a sign.
I'm
Because
seeing, I'm seeing some stuff, girl. I'm
yeah,
seeing
we
some
know
stuff.
that's
What's
not
up?
you. We
You
know
got to
that's
shake
not
it
how
out.
you
Shake it
roll.
out.
Yeah, we know you're not. We know that's not your lifestyle where you just walk out the house looking crazy. So I want to know what's going on.
Right.
You know, yes, the support was great. You know, that's one thing I will say about the police department. If you go through a critical incident, they there. They Johnny on the spot. You got all the you got all the help that you could possibly
A lot
need.
of resources. That's what's up.
Yes, I mean, which is I appreciate them for that. But you know, look at the signs. You know, look at the signs and listen to the signs, and make sure you take care of yourself and your friends and your family. And y'all know what time it is. You know, we thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for watching. But this whole month, we're talking about mental illness. We're talking about mental health and what you can do and how you can go about helping yourself and other people. So next week, we're gonna work on having an expert up in here. But this week, we actually really wanted to bring it to you all to let you all know what we're going to do for the rest of the month, because it's extremely important that Black people, African Americans, whatever you want to call us, have the help and get the help that we need. You know, how do we see it? How do we address it? What do we do once we see it and once we address it? What happens when
Right.
somebody don't want help? How do you take care of it? What do you do? So we're going to try to have somebody in here that's going to give you all that information, because for today we just wanted to break a little bit of the ice. So tell everybody to tune in next week, because this is Mental Health Month, and we will be talking to some. The unfortunate thing too, and I don't know, this might be a little deep, but to have someone on who they know a loved one that actually killed themselves, committed suicide because of whatever, you know, we don't know. I don't know, but
Right.
you know, what if they want to do it? I'm gonna see if I can get them to come on and do that. So we gonna see if we can do that. Help for the dying, convinced to live. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see if we can't have that too, but we definitely gonna have somebody on next week to talk about the mental illness, because it's crucial. And let's not just do May for the month. Month, every day should be mental illness
Yeah.
day. You know, you should be recognizing it. Period. So with that being said, y'all know it's time for us to get up out of here. Do a
Yes. Positive quotes.
positive quote of the day. Positive quotes. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for watching, and thanks for
Definitely.
giving your input. But what you got
Yeah.
for us today, sis?
Today was kind of deep. It was kind of heavy. My positive quote is check on somebody. Check on somebody, because you never know, they may need it. You know, it might be somebody you ain't checked on in a long time. So my positive quote is check on somebody. I don't care who it is, or if you might be second guessing the person you need to check on, but do it anyway. Push through it. Check on somebody.
Yep. And I'm gonna piggyback off of that. When you get up, do a checkup. So when you get up in the morning, in the afternoon, whatever it is, do a checkup. Set your alarm clock to do a checkup on somebody. You know, check up on them and make sure they are right. You know, if they're on your mind, I always say this too. If somebody is on your mind, they're on your mind for a reason. So go
Yep.
on and check up on them. So when you get up, do a checkup and see how they doing, and check in and see what's going on with them, because we all want to make sure everybody is okay and everybody's doing well. And on that note, y'all know me. Y'all know me. Positive in, positive out. And then I just heard this on the radio the other day from one of the preachers preaching. It really, really it is. It's always better to give than it is to receive, because that's where your blessings come from. And we'll see you next week.
See you next Wednesday.
Cinco